Have you ever pondered upon the intricacies of life and the universe? A question that has left many of us contemplating the whys and hows of our existence. In this vast cosmos, we often find ourselves seeking answers to these profound questions. And one of the most ancient and revered sources of such wisdom is the Bhagwat Geeta. The Bhagwat Geeta, often referred to as the Manual of Life, is a 700-verse Hindu scripture. It is part of the Indian epic Mahabharata, nestled in the Bhishma Parva between the 25th and 42nd chapters. The Gita, as it is fondly known, is a conversation between Prince Arjuna and the god Krishna, who serves as his charioteer. This dialogue, set on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, is much more than a conversation. It is a spiritual discourse providing valuable insights into life, duty, spirituality, and the path to God realization. But why should we, living in the 24th century, care about a conversation that took place thousands of years ago? Because the wisdom of the Bhagwat Gita transcends time and space. Its teachings are universal, applicable to each one of us, regardless of our backgrounds, beliefs, or circumstances. The Gita teaches us how to navigate the challenges of life, fulfill our duties, and achieve inner peace. The Bhagwat Gita is not just an ancient text, it is a profound guide to life and spirituality. It provides answers to the deepest philosophical questions, offers practical solutions to life's problems, and guides us on the path of spiritual enlightenment. As we embark on this journey through the chapters of the Bhagwat Gita, we will delve into its profound wisdom. We will discuss its teachings, interpret its verses, and understand how to apply them in our lives. We will explore the wisdom of the Gita, not just as an ancient scripture, but as a living guide that can transform our lives and lead us to ultimate truth and happiness. Join us on this enlightening journey through the chapters of Bhagwat Gita as we unravel the profound wisdom it holds. Imagine standing on a battlefield, your heart heavy with the weight of impending war. This is where we find Arjuna, our protagonist, in the first chapter. Arjuna, a mighty warrior, stands on the precipice of a conflict that demands the blood of his kin. His heart is not filled with the thrill of battle, but a profound sorrow. His strength wanes not from fear, but from a moral dilemma that grapples his conscience. How can he raise his arms against his own, his mentors, his family? The battlefield of Kurukshetra thus transforms into a battlefield of morality for Arjuna. In this moment of despair, his charioteer, not just a friend but a guide, Lord Krishna, becomes the beacon of wisdom. Krishna, however, is not just a charioteer in this context. He is a symbol of divine guidance, a representation of the eternal truth. He stands by Arjuna not as a participant in the war, but as a guiding light in the darkness of moral quandary. As Arjuna's despondency grows, he questions the very nature of his duty. Is it his duty to fight against his kin for the sake of righteousness? Or is it his duty to renounce the violence, even if it leads to the triumph of evil? These questions are not just Arjuna's. They are the questions of every soul standing on the crossroads of moral dilemmas. In this moment of utter despair, Arjuna does something unexpected. He lays down his mighty weapon, his Gandiva, a symbol of his unparalleled warrior spirit. He seeks guidance, not as a warrior, but as a seeker of truth. He surrenders his ego, his pride, his identity as a warrior, and becomes a humble student in the vast university of life. In his despondency, Arjuna lays down his arms, seeking guidance from Krishna, and so begins the divine discourse. This discourse, known as the Bhagavad Gita, is not just a conversation between a warrior and his charioteer. It's a dialogue between the human and the divine, between despair and hope, between ignorance and enlightenment. In the face of Arjuna's despair, Krishna imparts the first of his teachings, the path of knowledge. Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita unveils a profound wisdom, an awakening that serves as a beacon of light in the darkness of Arjuna's despair. Krishna, in his divine wisdom, begins to unfold the mysteries of life and existence, elucidating the immortal nature of the soul. He shares the profound truth that life and death are but transient phases. The soul, the true essence of our being, is eternal, indestructible, and immortal. It neither slays nor is slain. The physical body may perish, but the soul, the Atman, continues its journey, transcending the boundaries of mortal existence. Krishna gently guides Arjuna, helping him understand the temporariness of life, the ephemeral nature of our earthly existence. He emphasizes the importance of duty, or dharma. Each one of us, Krishna explains, has a duty to perform, a role to play in this grand cosmic play. And it is through the performance of our duty, without attachment to the results, that we can attain liberation. This leads us to the concept of Sthitaprajna, the man of steady wisdom. Krishna describes a Sthitaprajna as one who remains undisturbed amidst the chaos of life, who lives in constant communion with his inner self, and who remains detached from the fruits of his actions. The teachings then take a profound turn, as Krishna introduces Arjuna to Nishkam Karma, or selfless action. Krishna advises Arjuna to perform his duty without attachment to success or failure. This selfless dedication to duty, Krishna explains, is the key to attaining eternal peace and liberation. In this chapter, Krishna lays the foundation of spiritual wisdom, nurturing Arjuna's understanding and preparing him for the deeper spiritual discourse that is yet to come. Arjuna is introduced to the concept of Nishkam Karma, or selfless action, setting the stage for further spiritual discourse. We have reached the final chapter of the Bhagwat Geeta, where Krishna concludes his divine teachings. This chapter, known as the Yoga of Liberation through Renunciation, provides a grand finale to the spiritual saga, summarizing all paths to spiritual realization and emphasizing the importance of surrendering to the divine will. Krishna begins by explaining the concept of sannyasa, or renunciation. He describes it as a state of being where one lets go of all worldly desires and attachments, freeing oneself from the chains of material existence. This, Krishna states, is the highest form of spiritual practice, a path that leads directly to liberation. However, Krishna also emphasizes that renunciation is not about escaping from the world. Rather, it's about engaging with the world in a detached manner. It's about performing one's duties selflessly, without any expectation of rewards. This, Krishna explains, is the essence of karma yoga, or the path of selfless action. Next, Krishna talks about jnana yoga, or the path of knowledge. He states that real knowledge is recognizing the divine presence in all beings and understanding the impermanence of the physical world. This knowledge, Krishna says, leads to the dissolution of ego and the realization of one's true divine self. Krishna also discusses bhakti yoga, or the path of devotion. He emphasizes that absolute surrender to the divine will is the highest form of devotion. Krishna assures that those who surrender completely, accepting the divine as their sole refuge, are granted peace and ultimately attain liberation. In conclusion, Krishna presents a comprehensive overview of all the paths to spiritual realization, karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga, and emphasizes that they are not mutually exclusive but intertwined paths that lead to the same destination: liberation. With this, Krishna concludes his divine discourse, leaving Arjuna enlightened and ready for the battle of life. Now that we have journeyed through the chapters of Bhagwat Geeta, let's distill its essence. The Bhagwat Geeta, a jewel in the crown of ancient Indian wisdom, presents a profound synthesis of the concept of dharma, or righteous living. It illustrates the paths of knowledge, devotion, and action as three distinct yet interrelated approaches to spiritual growth. The path of knowledge, or jnana yoga, emphasizes the importance of self-realization and understanding the true nature of the self. It teaches us that we are not mere physical entities, but eternal souls, indestructible and timeless, merely passing through this transient world in different bodies. The path of devotion, or bhakti yoga, underscores the power of love and surrender to God. It encourages us to see God in all beings and to serve them with selfless love. It is through this love and devotion that we can attain union with the divine. The path of action, or karma yoga, advocates the performance of one's duty without attachment to the fruits of actions. It encourages us to act not for personal gain, but as an offering to the divine, turning work into worship. The Bhagwat Geeta also underscores the significance of renunciation, not in the sense of abandoning worldly duties, but as the renunciation of selfish desires and ego. It teaches us to live in the world, yet remain untouched by its illusions, like a lotus leaf in water. Finally, the Bhagwat Geeta emphasizes the power of surrendering to God. It reassures us that those who surrender all their actions to God, who remember Him in everything they do, are forever freed from the bondage of karma and attain eternal peace. The Bhagwat Geeta is not just a scripture, but a timeless guide to life and spirituality. It is a beacon of divine wisdom, illuminating the path to peace and liberation. We've journeyed through an ocean of wisdom, but what does this mean for us? The Bhagwat Geeta, a timeless spiritual guide, has illuminated our path with its profound teachings. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, its wisdom continues to hold relevance. From the despondency of Arjuna to the liberating knowledge of yoga, each chapter has something valuable to offer to each one of us. Let's consider the struggles of Arjuna, clouded by doubt and fear on the battlefield. Isn't it much like our own inner battles? We too face dilemmas, conflicts, and uncertainties. The Gita teaches us to rise above our limitations and fears, to perform our duty with devotion and without attachment to the results. The Yoga of Knowledge, or Sankhya Yoga, imparts the knowledge of the eternal soul, helping us to understand our true nature beyond the physical body and the transient world. By embracing this knowledge, we can liberate ourselves from the cycle of birth and death, experiencing true freedom and peace. In the Yoga of Liberation through renunciation, we learn the art of letting go. In a world driven by desires and material possessions, this teaching guides us to renounce the fruits of our actions, leading us towards a life of contentment and fulfillment. In essence, the Bhagwat Gita's teachings encourage us to live consciously, to act with integrity, and to seek inner peace and spiritual growth. It's not about renouncing the world, but about understanding and engaging with it in a more meaningful and mindful way. So as we conclude this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on these teachings. Let's strive to incorporate them into our daily lives, not as mere philosophical concepts, but as practical tools for personal transformation. The Bhagwat Gita's teachings are not confined to a particular religion or culture. They are universal truths guiding us towards a life of peace, fulfillment, and spiritual enlightenment.